Welcome to Latter Daily Digest. We honor creators, and Sunstone features a bunch of creators. And today I'm visiting for our Sunstone sneak peek. I'm visiting with Moroni, Lopez, Jessop.
Hi.
So Moroni, tell us a little bit about your presentation.
Well, first of all, I'm always excited to go to Sunstone to see people that I love seeing every year, and you're one of them, Gene. I see you every year at Sunstone, and that's you. I think that we're both fixtures there. It wouldn't be Sunstone without seeing you there. So,
thank you very much. Yeah, last year I got to be like the semi-official photographer. I took
that's right. That's right. I saw a lot of your pictures. So
150 pictures and sent them all to Lindsay and Grace, and I don't know what they did with them after that.
They put a lot of them up on Facebook on like the Sunstone page. So
right.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you again. So
yeah. Anyway, so your presentation's titled "The Lamanite Prophet: A Forgotten Fundamentalist Vision." And do you know what day and what time your presentation is?
Yes, my presentation is Friday, August 2nd at 4:25 p.m. Okay. And if anybody's around and wants to check it out, they're welcome to come watch.
So hopefully everybody's well rested from the nap they got in this prior presentation, so they're wide awake for ears.
Exactly. I saw that you did an interview with Ganesh about his presentation.
Yeah.
And my wife is giving a presentation at the same time as him, and so I told him, gosh, I'm really sad. I'm probably going to have to miss your presentation, but maybe my wife might be nice and let me slip out go watch Ganesh's.
That's right. You can say, "Honey, practice to me on the drive up, so I know it word for word, just like you do, and then I won't have to be in your presentation unless you absolutely need me."
Oh, that's all right. That's all right if you can't be there.
Tell us a little bit about how you even got this assignment. How did that come out?
Well, Mormon fundamentalist history is something that interests me, and what my presentation is about basically is how Mormon fundamentalists interpret 2nd Nephi chapter 3 verses 23 and 24, which is where Lehi is talking to his son Joseph and then making prophecy. He tells Joseph that he's descended from the Joseph that got sold into Egypt. And then he prophesies that there's going to be this great seer that's going to come forward in the latter days, and that he will also have the name Joseph, which obviously is a reference to Joseph Smith. Well, fundamentalist. So anyway, he talks about a future prophet that will come forward from his line, from Joseph's line, the son of Lehi. So the church used to interpret that in the footnotes. If you go to any of the older Book of Mormons and look down in the footnotes, you will see that it refers to a Lamanite prophet. And I do want to give a warning, kind of like a heads up to a lot of the people that are going to attend my presentation, that I use the word Lamanite to refer to Native Americans or the ancestors of the Native Americans. I don't mean any offense to anybody, but just for the purpose of the fact that it says Lamanite in the Book of Mormon, that's the term I'm going to use. And
you're not going to try to steal anybody's identity or take away their culture. It's just referencing the Book of Mormon.
Anyway, the footnotes read a Lamanite prophet, and in the Spanish version, it also reads, it says, un profeta Lamanita, which means a Lamanite prophet. But you look now at the footnote in the current LDS version of the Book of Mormon, and it says Joseph Smith. So I view that as kind of a form of indigenous erasure, that, they take that prophecy of a future Lamanite prophet that will rise up, and it says a mighty prophet, and they attribute that to Joseph Smith instead.
When I was growing up, there was lots of talk in conference about how the Lamanites were going to blossom as a rose, and that look to a future major cooperation. And then thanks to Spencer W. Kimball, I think, there was some talk about how Lamanites would become white.
Yes.
And so that yes. kind of has not lasted very well, that kind of a statement, they say.
So the fundamentalists interpreted it very similarly. They talked about a white Lamanite prophet that would that would rise up in the latter days. And it's kind of funny how they made him white. But the fundamentalists took that interpretation, and they eventually developed a belief that Lamanite prophet was already among us, but that he was hidden somewhere in the jungles of Yucatan. And so the fundamentalists in the 1950s started making expeditions into Yucatan looking for this Lamanite prophet. And of course, the expeditions were ill-fated and, weren't successful. They didn't find anything. But this belief was at first widely held among all the fundamentalists, and yet eventually it got to the point where none of them, except maybe a handful, believed it. It's just a belief that I used to hear a lot about when I first came into fundamentalism, and then I stopped hearing anybody talk about it, and so they just stopped believing it. Yet it's interesting that at one point it's well documented. And I will go over some of the documentation that the fundamentalists believed this and taught this, and it was part of the repertoire of their beliefs, but yet now it's completely non-existent.
Yeah, like for instance, not really, I guess they're called Mormon myths or something like that, but I remember people saying, at the return of Jesus for the second coming, Angel Moroni in the top of the temple in Salt Lake will trumpet Jesus' return, and the whole world will hear it. And so when you're 7 or 8 or 9, that's pretty exciting to think that might happen. You don't know a lot about how metal works and whether it can actually animate itself at some point in the future. But certainly those types of things are starting to go away as people are pointing out either inconsistencies or, we'll say, logical fallacies in some of those things.
Yeah, exactly.
Miracles drove everything that happened with the church, when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, I mean, all of us grew up hearing stories about somebody who encountered the 3 Nephites, whether they were changing their tire in the snow or
right.
It's kind of
or
funny
whether
how
they came home from church and the pie and bread was all baked.
Yeah, I almost forgot about that one. Yeah.
The 3 Nephites they have lots of skills. We don't give them credit.
Including baking.
Yeah. I mean, what I was wondering when you were talking about how they would go through the Yucatan, I wonder if while they were looking for the prophet, if they found any ruins where they can claim as, these ruins were discovered by Mormon fundamentalists. I don't know.
Well, they were accompanied by Margarita Bautista, and Margarita Bautista was a indigenous fundamentalist leader. So Margarita Bautista was a fundamentalist leader in Mexico in the community of Osumba, which is close to Mexico City. And he basically allowed the fundamentalists from Utah to use Osumba as a staging point for these expeditions. And he went with them. They hired guides. They did go see the ruins at Chichen Itza. And, what's really funny is that the rumor was that this Lamanite prophet and his people were hidden in the mountains of Yucatan. But anyone who's been to Yucatan knows that probably it's flat. It's maybe at the highest point 400 feet elevation. There are no mountains in Yucatan.
That's right.
And
so nobody could walk up a hill and come down a mountain.
Right, exactly.
Like Hugh Grant did in a movie.
Yeah, that was a great movie.
Years ago.
But
so actually, I interviewed John Lundwall, who was actually visited a lot of the ruins in the Yucatan, and I'll include a link in the description to that episode. And he has great pictures. There's about 25 really, really good pictures that he took.
Oh, I'm excited to see those pictures. So
yeah,
but
so you presented the idea to Lindsay Hansen Park a few months ago.
Yeah, I just pitched it to her. There's a few different topics that I'm wanting to cover. I may have to save them for other Sunstones. It was either this one, which and it's kind of funny because I picked this topic because I thought that it was really original and nobody had ever done a presentation on it. But when I announced it on Facebook that this is what I was going to talk about, Christopher Blythe said something like, "Oh, I just presented on this at Mormon History Association."
Wow.
I'm like, "Oh, dang it!" And he's like, "No, no, no. There's room for two people to make the same presentation."
Yeah, it's almost like a scientific method, right? Somebody postulates something, and then they do an experiment, and then they write a paper, and then other
Exactly.
people do the experiment again just to see if it will be repeatable. So
Yeah.
you're repeating this experiment now for
Yeah,
science.
and I haven't seen his presentation, so I don't know what's in it. I don't know if he covered a lot of the same things I did, or if it's completely different. But oh well.
And,
I mean, these sort of things happen.
and you live near St. George?
No, I live in the White Mountains of Arizona. I live like kind of over on the New Mexico border.
Okay.
So St. George is about a good 7-hour drive from me.
Okay.
So,
How far from Snowflake are you then?
Snowflake is maybe about 45 miles from where I live.
Okay, a little bit like northwest of you.
Um, I live a little bit southeast of Snowflake, little
Yeah.
town called Concho
Okay.
that nobody's ever heard of.
But it's beautiful.
Beautiful-ish. I mean, the benefit of living in Concho is not that it's beautiful itself, but it's within short driving distance of a lot of beautiful places.
Right. My
So,
mom was born in Hayward, California, but she grew up in Salt Lake. She attended West High and then moved back to California where she met my dad. And they got together and they've been living here. They had been living here ever since. They're deceased now. But we would drive back to visit grandma, and we drive all through Nevada. And my mom wouldn't say a word. And then when the welcome to Utah sign hit, look how beautiful, even though it looked almost exactly the same as all through the Nevada desert. So that's what I was sort of teasing you about where you live.
of
It's
course, it's the
beautiful.
land of Zion.
Yeah, it's beautiful in its own way, right?
No, it is. I like where I live. I live off grid. I live on a 60-acre ranch with my family. We have virtually no neighbors. Clean air, clean water. However, there's drawbacks. We have 5 miles of dirt road, and around this time of the year, which is Arizona's rainy season, it becomes 5 miles of mud.
Wow. So do you have horses then?
No, we don't have any horses or anything like
Okay.
that. Just, yeah.
Just
So
jackrabbits,
jackrabbits, prairie dogs,
coyotes.
coyotes, that sort of thing. So,
What's
so
the other thing? Roadrunners.
roadrunners, yes, we do have that. So,
There you
and
go.
the occasional rattler.
Oh yeah, rattlers. Have you ever been bit and you had needed to have that snake bite kick?
No, no. Luckily, we haven't. I haven't seen a snake out on our property for 5 years. I know they're there. I just don't look for them that hard.
And they're not looking for you either.
Right. So, my
What
son
about
saw one the other day, but it crawled under the house.
okay?
So it's under the house somewhere.
What about scorpions?
No, we're at a high elevation, so we rarely ever see scorpions.
That's good for people to know. You
Yeah.
know, my
Yeah.
wife won't move to Arizona because of scorpions and the heat.
Oh
And
yeah. Well,
I
it's
know people from Arizona, and I say, how do you possibly survive? Look, these people are surviving.
it's
It's a
not that
miracle.
bad up here. Like I said, we're at high elevation. So it's
Right.
about 87 degrees here right now. And then at
Okay.
nighttime, it cools off to about 60. So it's kind of nice.
Might be
So,
108 or 110 in Phoenix or something like that.
right, exactly. So
That's
we're on average 20 degrees cooler than Phoenix is.
cooler, right?
So,
So thanks for coming on. Can't wait to see you again at Sunstone.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, I'm so excited.
I've gone to two in a row now, so this has been my third in a row. And
Okay.
Steve Pinecker might not show up, but he said that he still will interview me on and to give a report on how Sunstone went. That
No,
means maybe
he's not going because he's usually the umpire at the
uh-huh.
kickball game. And people who might not know, Steve Pinecker is the umpire, and I'm usually the coach for the Fundamentalist team, Team Higher Law, Team Higher Law versus Team Outer Darkness. This year we had to cancel because Steve couldn't make it, and because the coach for Team Outer Darkness couldn't make it either.
Oh,
So
who's the coach for Team Outer Darkness?
Chelsea Homer usually.
Okay.
So she couldn't make it. So they wound up just scrapping it this year, but they promised me that next year we will continue, because there's a long tradition of the fundamentalists beating the Exmos, but last year was the first year that the Exmos beat the fundamentalists.
There you go.
So
and I wanted to like watch it, but I start talking to people around where the food is, and I just never make it over there.
yeah, it's a lot of fun, but they usually have the trivia game going on at the same time, and
the trivia game, right?
Trivia game is still going on Friday night over at the Gilgal Gardens. So I'm looking forward to that. It'll be the first time that I get to go to a trivia game, so I'm excited.
Yeah,
about
so it's going to be at the University of Utah, and
Yeah.
so I don't know what the parking's like. I don't know what the lay of the land is, so I'm going to have to learn it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So, all right then, everybody, if you have time for Moroni's presentation, hop on over and let them know that if you go there, that you heard it from our show, just to see if we have anything going on. About 100 people will see this, and probably only 10 people that see it will actually make it to Sunstone. But,
well, if you do, come and say hi. So
I'm giving it a shot, and hopefully next year I'll start out a little bit earlier in the summer and start interviewing people, and maybe have them trickle all through the summer until it's time for Sunstone. All right, then. Thanks a lot. Everybody have a good
week.
Bye-bye.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.